Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Pure Nintendo podcast. This is your weekly dose of all things Nintendo. My name is Gemma, and joining me this week, I have my very good friend, I have Kirk. Welcome back, Kirk.
It's good to be back. I'm sorry I missed last week.
Yes, we missed you. I seem to have said the same thing to Trev last week because I think I missed him the week from the week before.
That's what we're good for. There, you can always count on missing at least one of us.
Yes, and then when the three of us get together, it's like a full moon or something. Not quite a blue moon
Yeah,
because it happens regularly enough, but
yeah. The,
yeah,
the
it's a full moon.
planets aligning.
Yeah. Well, welcome back. I hope you had a good week off, and we had a good time last week talking about lots of random things, and we're going to do the same thing this week. Lots of interesting little tidbits related to Nintendo, of course. And I guess the first thing I wanted to start off with was Mega Man, because so we're recording on Friday, I guess, night, US time, and this was rumored during the week to come, and then it just happened I guess yesterday. So Mega Man 1 to 5 on the Game Boy dropped on the Switch Online just out of the blue. Well, apart from the fact that it was rumored. I don't know how these people knew that this was coming, but I saw all these things. I was like, I'm not sure if I want to report on that on the podcast, the rumor of it coming, but then it did come. So I went online, I jumped online and updated the Game Boy Switch Online app or whatever you want to call it, and gave it a quick go. Now, I'm not hugely familiar with Mega Man. I've definitely played some of them. I definitely have not played all five of these ones. But, Mega Man is a shooter. It's obviously been around for a long time. What's your story with when it comes to Mega Man? Are you a fan? Have you played it?
My story's probably a bit more tangential than anybody could possibly imagine. I
Okay.
haven't played it. The only experience I have with Mega Man is he was a character in that Project X Zone game that I
Oh,
brought up in
yeah.
the past as
Mhm.
one of my oddly favorite 3DS games. So I played him in
Yes.
that, but I've never played one of his games proper.
Right, there you go. Well, there are a few. I think how many games are there? There must be at least 10 because they got up to Mega Man X, which I assume was 10.
Yeah, and they have
Yeah.
I see there's a collection. There's a legacy collection available in the eShop, and that has six.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? I wonder how they got to that number. Like, let's make a collection. Let's just choose 6. Not all 10 or 11 or whatever, but yeah.
Well, maybe there were. Yeah, they heard us discussing how many games actually comprise a collection, and
Yeah.
they've answered it for us. They say it's six, and
It's
so
6.
yeah, until
Yes.
Mega Man says differently, that's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah, exactly. And so Mega Man looks like there are 11 in total in that mainline series, I guess. And the Game Boy versions, I guess they're basically the NES versions made for the Game Boy. So this is Mega Man 1 to 5, which is that's a lot of games to drop at once. You know, in terms of numbers at least. It's I guess it's a mini collection of its own in a sense. This
Yep.
time there's 5 there. Yeah, so I just jumped straight into Mega Man 5 because I figured the latest one would be the best one. I don't know if that's not necessarily the case though, is it usually? But I thought, well, it's probably the longest, maybe the hardest. But anyway, I didn't last very long. I think Mega Man games are quite well known for being pretty tough little platform shooters. So yeah, I experienced that. I mean, with Switch Online, at least you can rewind. So I'm like, yeah, let's just go back. It reminds me a lot of Metroid though, because the early Metroid games, like the side-scrolling, platform shooter types, like Metroid and Super Metroid, because you're running along, jumping and shooting essentially. So yeah, so I'll get back in and maybe give it another go, if I ever find time. But I just wanted to highlight that that is out now, and I think a lot of people will be interested to play them again or for the first time. Mega Man, I do have the Mega Man amiibo for Smash Brothers. So that's kind of cool. He looks pretty nice and blue. So that's my
Oh,
little
yeah. He's
Mega
got a
Man
good
toy.
design. I like the way he looks. Very what 70s anime ish. Can I say that?
Yeah. Like he looks like Astro Boy with more
Yeah, that's what I
clothes
was
on,
thinking of.
kind of.
Astro Boy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love Astro Boy. I miss Astro Boy, to be honest. I was in Japan recently, bit of a side note, as you know, and my sister loves Astro Boy. We both grew up watching it, even though it's think it's from the 60s, but even in the 80s, it was on TV, and I could not find any Astro Boy stuff in Japan, which surprised me. I'm just like, where's all the Astro Boy stuff? Guess it's not of the times. It's not,
Yeah, I get if
yeah,
you're gonna find it anywhere, it would have to be Japan, right? Well, they did make a movie. There was a
it
hell,
did.
when was that? Yeah, like the mid 2000s. That was
Hmm.
the first movie that I ever took my son Sam to. His first movie in
Oh,
the theater
there
was
you go.
Astro Boy.
Oh, that's nice. I don't think my
And
kids
now
have even
he's a
seen it.
huge anime fan. I
Yeah,
I think it all got started with that. I never even thought about that before, but it
that's
apparently left a
cool.
big enough impression.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Yes. Well, Mega Man, there you go. So if you're a fan, enjoy and let us know how you go with that. I think, yeah, if Trev was on, he's a big Mega Man fan, as far as I know. So maybe next week he can tell us all about which one's his favorite out of 1 to 5. But the other thing that came up this week, so Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble, which is an upcoming Switch game. I think it's out in June, actually this month, June the 25th. There was some DLC announced ahead of, I guess, ahead of the launch, and it's pretty. It actually looks pretty cool. It's Sonic related DLC. It doesn't come out with the game, as in it won't be available on June the 25th, as far as I know. When the game is released, it sort of says, at some point in the future. And Sonic in Super Monkey Ball, it makes a lot of sense because Sonic spins and Monkey Ball is little monkeys in balls. Yeah, I think the look, because Sonic is he spins in a little ball, which another little segue. Hedgehogs do that in real life. I learnt in Japan also because I went to a hedgehog cafe, and you pick up a hedgehog and it curls into a little ball just like Sonic. It's
Oh, nice.
adorable. It's so cute. It's very, very cute. He didn't spin around or anything. He just sat in my hand.
I wonder why
But
they didn't just have him in the ball. I mean, going back to the game, not the one that you were holding.
yes. Mhm.
But yeah, he's definitely Sonic inside the traditional monkey ball. But they could have just made him in spin mode, sitting outside the
Yeah.
ball doing his thing, right?
Yes, and when I first saw the trailer and saw the blue blur of Sonic, I thought exactly that. I thought he actually thought he was spinning a la Sonic, but no, he's in the monkey ball. So you could put anyone in there. It doesn't really need to be Sonic then, does it?
Yep. Well, and we can't call it a monkey ball if there's a hedgehog in it.
Yeah, that's true. So I don't know why Sonic has taken over the monkey ball situation and Sonic's friends as well. Looks like there's Knuckles, Amy, and Tails, of course, and Sonic. So there's four of them. And yeah, they don't spin. They're in the ball. Maybe they decided it would be just too weird if they weren't. I don't know,
Well,
honestly. I really don't
got to
know.
keep it fair, I suppose. Everyone's got to use the same equipment.
Yeah, but now that Sonic's in it, maybe some other iconic Sega characters could make their debut in Super Monkey Ball, kind of like Mario Kart. Any Mario character can drive a kart. Maybe any
Yeah,
Sega character can ride a ball.
the
I don't know.
possibilities for DLC are limitless.
Yes, exactly. So apparently it comes included with the deluxe edition. Perhaps not included as in day one, but if you have the deluxe edition, you will get free access to the DLC when it's available, or you can buy it separately as a pack. I think it's 24.99 US. The deluxe edition is 69.99, so it's I think 49.99 for the standard. So you're either going to pay if you want it, you're better off doing the deluxe. I guess is the point. Otherwise, you're going to spend an extra $5. But somehow they said that you can also individually download them. Like if you just want Sonic, it sounded like they called it a la carte. So like you could just choose Amy if you want or Knuckles from a menu, and I guess it'd be $5 or $10 for each one. Um, I don't think there's any difference in the gameplay. I did notice that the bananas do turn into rings if you're using one of these four characters, which is a nice little Sonic touch, I suppose, but it doesn't,
Yep.
affect the gameplay as far as I know. So it's more of an aesthetic kind of update there. Now, are we into Super Monkey Ball? I know we talked about this a little while ago when they announced it. I think you have
Yeah,
played it or you're
that's the
somewhat
one.
interested.
Somewhat. Because I played it on the game. Excuse me, the GameCube, and
Mhm.
Tierney and I played it, and we both really liked it and had quite a bit of fun with
Mm.
it. But we didn't like anything that came after it nearly as much. And I don't know if that's, it could be one of those things where we were just like right place, right time, right age, right mentality when it came out. And now we're
Yes.
not. So that may be on us. I don't know. But
Could
it's
be.
one of those ones I would have to, I think, borrow from someone or play it at someone else's house and see if I still enjoy it enough rather than just go out and purchase it and hope for the best.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only one I may have played was there a Wii version
I think
on.
so.
Yeah, I
Was that
might
the
have
one with the
played that
balance
one.
board? They had one with the
Oh,
balance board,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, that was it. Yes, which is obviously different to, in gameplay, I suppose, and mechanics
Yeah.
to that earlier one because 'cause you're trying to balance. I don't really remember playing a lot of it. I thought at the time it would be a really fun multiplayer game that we would, because I had lots of nieces and nephews, I think, at that time who were, 10 or under kind of thing, and we played lots of Mario Kart and lots of, I don't know, Smash Brothers and things like that, and I thought that would be another fun, we had Wii Play and Wii Sports and things like that, but, this one didn't really make the cut for us. We tried it and then we moved on to something else. So, I don't know, that sounds a bit mean, but I'm sure Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble will be great, and we fingers crossed, we'll see how we go.
Yep.
Yeah, it does look cute, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah. I hope it's good because I would like to play another one, but just got to wait and
mm.
see.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So we don't have very long to wait. It's only out, I think it's, yeah, about 2 weeks really, isn't it? 25th of June, not far away at all. Will it be before the Nintendo Direct? We don't know. We don't know. We'll see.
I hope so. That doesn't give us a lot of time afterwards. I don't want to wait till the
Mm.
end of June for the direct. I want it
Yeah.
next week.
Yeah.
I want it
Yeah.
now.
I know. I know. Yeah. I'm thinking it I think it'll be the week after. That's just my guess though. I have no idea, honestly. We'll see. Yeah, and if I guess if the direct was this week or even next week, that might be featured, although, it's coming out it would be out very much after that, after the direct almost. But it could be highlighted as one of the upcoming games. I wonder if they would do the direct after Luigi's Mansion, actually, which is coming out in a couple of weeks as well. You wouldn't want to promote that, or you would want to promote it, but we want new games. We want to hear about new games, not games that are coming out tomorrow that we already know
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
Yeah. Although that would
Mm.
help if they don't have too many games, so that's something they could spend a little bit of time on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Well, we'll see. Time will tell. The next little interesting thing that I saw during the week was a Legend of Zelda fan remake, which looks pretty amazing. I don't know if you've had a chance to watch the YouTube video. Essentially, it is the original NES game, The Legend of Zelda, made or recreated, I should say, by a developer, a fan, digital artist called Lloyd Empty. I think he's from France, actually, using Unreal Engine, and he's revealed 20 minutes of footage of his version of The Legend of Zelda. So, it's completely unofficial, but it looks pretty good, especially the caves and the dungeons. They look really nice. The music's very good. It's not 100% Zelda, as in he probably I don't know if he can use all the sounds, but some sound effects sound very Legend of Zelda. Like opening the chest, and even when Link gets hurt, he makes that little kind of oof noise that he does sometimes. But it looks really nice. The sprites look good, the colors look good, the music is actually really good too. It is, like I said, especially in the dungeons. I noticed in the caves, it just stands out for some reason. And the colors and the lighting is really well done. I don't know how long he's spent on this, but I imagine it's a very long time. But yeah, so I'm a huge fan of The Legend of Zelda. That was probably the very first game I ever played, actually, ever, was The Legend of Zelda, because my dad bought a NES when I was a kid, and that was one of the games he got with it. That, and it came with Mario Kart. Sorry, not Mario Kart, Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt, and he must have bought separately The Legend of Zelda. So those were the games my family was playing, and that was my exposure to Nintendo, and hence why I'm here, however many years later, talking about all things Nintendo, because that's what I grew up with. But yeah, so it looks like he's changed it a little bit, as in he's kind of enhanced it. Like the overworld looks the same, and he goes to the first dungeon in the 20-minute video, and that looks the layout, it looks the same. The map looks the same. The boss is the same. It's that dragon. I can't remember his name, but some caves look a little different. Like even I was going to say spoiler alert, but this is a how many 40-year-old game or whatever, and it's a fan remake. But at the very beginning of the video, right at the start of The Legend of Zelda, you get the sword, and the old man says it's um, what does he say about going alone?
Yeah, it's dangerous to go
Dangerous to
alone.
go alone. Yes, you'd think I know that. It's dangerous to go alone. Here, take this. And instead of getting the sword instantly, there's like a little da-na-na, and then it's like, and then the old man says, "Oh, I thought I had it with me." And then he makes Link go downstairs and do a couple little puzzles to get the sword, which I thought was really cute and a nice little change of the classic formula that we know. So that was a nice little thing. So I think he's done a few little things like that, just kind of enhanced it or changed it a bit like I suppose the way movies might be remade. I don't know. Anyway, it's very interesting. Check out the footage on YouTube if you're interested. I don't know when he's going to be finished with it, but yeah, it's looking really cool. Did you? Sorry, and I just went on, but did you get a chance to look at that? Okay.
A little bit. I think
Mm.
I was scouting through more images than video.
Hmm.
But since you mentioned him finishing it, I got to ask, what's the point?
Mm. Of
'Cause-
making it?
yeah, I mean, is it just like maybe he's building his resume and showing stuff off? Like, look what I did. This was because you can't do anything with it, right? You can't release it. You don't own the property.
Mm. Yeah, true.
Nintendo's not going to buy it from you and release it themselves. So I
Probably
mean,
not. No.
it would be like me saying, I really like that movie Flash Gordon. I'm going to
Yeah.
rewrite it. Like, okay, I could rewrite it, but I can't sell it or make money off of it. So that was a lot of time
Mhm.
spent.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's a good question. I assume if he has enough fans on YouTube, for example, he could be making some money off his videos, but how much that is, I
That's
don't
true.
know.
Yeah.
Um, he could release it. Could he homebrew release it somehow? Like he could share it with the world and they could play it, on an emulator. But I'm assuming, I mean, it's Unreal Engine, so it's not a NES game anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of, I guess you might just be able to play it on your PC via some kind of whatever package.
That, and
Yeah.
if it looks good enough, then Nintendo would shut it down because they would say that,
Mm,
well, people are going to look at this and think it's one of our games, and it's not one of our games, and
mm.
we're not going to be able to offer any quality control on this. So
Yeah, and how does that work with copyright? Because you're you're allowed to parody stuff, and this is not a parody, it's a remake, but it looked like you couldn't look at it and think it's not Zelda. It even says it's called The Legend of Zelda Remake. That's what it's
yeah,
called in the title. Um, it doesn't look like as you're looking at it, you can tell it's not Nintendo. It's not. It's just not. It's not as good as Nintendo would do if they did an NES, if they did a remake themselves. Not that it's bad. It's very, very good. But there's just little things you're like, yeah, I don't think it would look just a bit more polished in this area or this area, or Nintendo would do things the way that they do things. So, which is fine. It's not meant to be. I don't think you'd want to make it look like Nintendo did it because then you would get in trouble, like you said. As long as he's not monetizing it, I suppose.
yeah,
Would Nintendo want to shut it down because in a way it promotes the game, I guess. I don't know.
yeah. You
Like
can
the
never
original
tell.
game.
You never tell with them.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Yeah. And maybe as long as he's just releasing videos, they don't care. Maybe
Yeah,
maybe he can't release it. Like you said, maybe people can't ever play it, which yeah, kind of defeats the purpose. But maybe it's just him and his friends or whatever. I don't know. Who
I
knows?
say it could be a labor of love, or him improving his skills, and because he did Zelda, it is
Mm,
going to be shared and very popular. And then next time someone needs a program or something on a game, they'll be like, you know what, that guy who did that
yeah.
Zelda remake did a really good job with that. Let's reach out to him.
That's
So
true. That could be it.
yeah, I think he could benefit from this. I just hate to think all the work he puts into it, and it's can only be shared on YouTube. That's as far as it's going to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Yeah, because I imagine it's many, many hours, uh, that of work that he's put into this, I can only
Yeah,
imagine. Yeah, so it definitely have to be a labor of love, wouldn't it? You'd have to be very passionate. Um, anyway, good on you. Good on you, Lloyd Empty. We'll see what happens in the future with that one. But yeah, I did think that was very interesting. But a shame we probably won't ever get to play it. It does make me think though, man, Nintendo could easily do they could easily do something like this, like they did with, was it Link's Awakening? They did a remake of that. If they did a cool remake of the original Zelda, I mean, I'd be happy to play that. I think it would look really nice and play really well. So we've talked about top-down Zeldas and whether there are any coming. I don't think this. I don't think Nintendo is working secretly on this, but hey, you never know in the future, right? Why not? Anyway,
Yeah.
it would be nice. But let's move on to the next little tidbit, which is a game called Ukulele, which has been out for a few years now, and it was the development team behind Banjo Kazooie. Did you ever play Banjo Kazooie?
No.
No.
And I've never played ukulele either. I remember, but like both, I
Mm.
get it. Both names are very similar and highly memorable. So
Yeah.
I,
Yes.
I, I saw this news come through. I was like, I remember that game. But then I thought, wait, do I? I don't remember
Yeah.
anything about it except the name.
Yeah. True. I loved Banjo Kazooie on the Nintendo 64. I think there were two games in that series before Rare went to Microsoft. Um, they were great. They were really, really fun. Kind of what do you call it? Like 3D platformers, I suppose, a bit like Mario
Yeah,
64.
yeah.
But yeah, but the two creatures work together. In the case of Banjo Kazooie, it was a bear and a bird. I think. God. And in this case, it's a lizard and is he a bat? I haven't played. So disclaimer: I have not played ukulele. I've always meant to, and I always see it on sale, and I'm like, I really should play ukulele because it's so cheap right now. I think sometimes it's like $6, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I really should just download it and play it at some point. Maybe I have even purchased it and downloaded it and just not played it. It's possible. It is really possible. But I haven't got around to playing it. It looks lovely. But what they've just announced is a revamped edition of the original ukulele, and it's called pretty cleverly, I guess, Replayly. So
Oh,
Yuka
yeah.
Yuka
I'm never going to be
Replayly.
able to get that right when I try to say it. I'll
Yeah,
jumble that up every time.
I was a little worried when I hadn't rehearsed that. But yes,
Yeah.
Ukulele. It's a revamped a version. Like I said, the graphics have been enhanced and it looks quite lovely. Um, this was part of another, what was it? It was some kind of showcase that happened, and I was going to mention it, but there were too many things in the showcase. Some sort of indie presentation with loads of different games, but there were too many to go through for us. And the big one, I suppose, was this ukulele or Yuka Replay. But yes, it sort of inspired me, I suppose, to reconsider the fact that I haven't played ukulele. I can't even say that one.
Let's see. This is going to be your vocal warm up in the mirror now before the
Yeah.
podcast starts.
Yes,
You go
exactly.
replay, you go replay.
See, you did do it. There you go.
It's all that practice with Japanese.
Yes, yes, exactly. So it looks really nice. It's the same game. I think there were some surprises they mentioned in store that, apart from the graphics being enhanced, there were a few other little upgrades and niceties. So if you're a fan, then you might be interested in that one when it releases. But it already looked nice, but now I suppose the team has had time and they've been able to, refine their skills when it comes to the Switch, I guess, and make this thing look, I guess, like George Lucas did back in the day, make it look like they originally intended it to look. So yeah, so that's coming out soon. I don't know the date, sorry for that one, but yes, keep an eye on that one. It does look really cool, and I will definitely try and get around to thinking about considering playing it.
Yep. And I
Yeah.
do fully support developers when they decide to do this too, because I imagine if
Mhm.
you made a game 20 years ago and then you look at the games that are out now and you're like, man, I wish that technology had been available to me when we did this. It makes perfect sense. So I think a lot of games can benefit from total remakes on modern systems.
Absolutely. And I know the team behind Tasmanian Tiger, sorry, they felt that exact same way, which is why they've released some of their stuff again in an enhanced way. So yeah, absolutely. You kind of grow as a developer, the technology changes, and you can do more. So why not, right? I mean,
Yep.
even Nintendo does this, and it's great for fans, but and then it also gives a new audience a chance to enjoy it anyway. So it's kind of
Yeah.
double, yeah, double pronged sword. Is that what you would say? It's not double edged.
Double
Is
edged.
it double edged? Isn't that a
Yeah.
bad thing?
Yes. Swords don't have prongs.
Yeah, true. No, they don't, do they? Forks, maybe. Yeah, I'm just trying to find if there is a release date for this, but I think it does not. No,
Yeah.
it does not have a release date currently.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is to celebrate the 10th anniversary of ukulele, which is it really 10 years old?
Yeah. I would have thought it was older.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Okay, so that's cool.
Right?
So yeah, no release date as of yet, but I'm sure it'll be out. I assume it'll be out this year, to be honest. So we'll keep an eye on that one. What
Okay.
have we got up next? Oh, this is really cool. This RPG Maker with, which is a fun, weird name to say. I was always taught not to end with a. Is that a preposition? With? I don't know.
Is it? Yeah.
What's it like? RPG Maker with. So, would you like to tell us about this one?
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about it other than it's coming out October 11th.
Mhm.
The original RPG Maker is something that I was always interested in because you can't play. I think these kind of games, these sort of like old school NES, SNES, top down RPGs, JRPGs, without thinking, I would love to tell a story like this. Or maybe
Mhm.
that's just me because I've always been into reading and writing.
Yeah.
But so this is a toolkit basically that gives you what you need to be able to build it yourself. That doesn't mean you could just hop right in and do it. You and I watched the trailer before this started, and
Mhm.
boy, they make it sound very easy.
They do. They do.
But it's
Yeah.
not. There's a lot of things that if you're a programmer, yes, it's basically just an engine, and then you start building things in it, you create your story. But if you haven't done any programming, then there's still an awful lot of terminology and technology that you need to understand in order to make it all come together and work.
Mm.
But it gives you art, it gives you certain elements, it gives you the programming that you need to make certain things happen, to have boss battles, to have hit detection so you can't like walk through walls and things like that. um,
That's cool.
and the cool thing about this version is the with version is that the assets can now be shared online. So you're able to work with other people to build a game, whether it's a specific set people, or I don't know if the assets are shared with anybody. I'm assuming that there is a set where you could just go grab things and pull it in. So if you don't have your own artist, for example, you're able to grab backgrounds and character art that you're going to use and pull that in.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
it looks fun. It looks like it would actually be interesting to try.
Mm.
But I have a feeling that it would still be a little too overwhelming for me, who has no programming experience aside from some basic PHP and web stuff that I do. Certainly not
Mhm.
enough to create a video game.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are a lot of games out there that have this same look to it. I don't know exactly which ones I've played that might have been made with the original RPG Maker, but if
Mm.
not, it's the same basic thing. And I play and enjoy these games quite a bit. I mean, you can't look at that trailer and not think of Chemco and the games that they're putting out. So, and
Oh, yeah.
I've liked many of their games.
Do you think they use RPG Maker to make their games?
I know they work with different developers. I've played enough that I see different developer names pop up as they're coming out. So are those individual developers working with it? Maybe.
Mm. But
This
this
Yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
I just you said the original game, and this has been around the original RPG Maker has been around a very long time. I didn't realize. It's like, is it from Japan? It was 1992. Is that correct?
Wow. Whoa. Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
didn't know it was that old.
Yeah. So it may not have made its way, stateside or to Australia back in the day, but it seems like there's at least a simple version of this concept has been around for a while, which is news to me, actually. Um, yeah, which I don't know. I'm not sure how to deal with that. But I think what you're saying about this particular version and having the skills, I guess, it does seem a little overwhelming to me, but I'm not a builder. Like Mario Maker, for example, I love. It's great. It's got such good tools, but I don't really like creating levels. I like playing levels that people create. It's just I don't have the time or the patience to just do it. I just feel
Yeah.
like I will start something and I did this as a kid just in like random, you know, I would do IT at school. Like, I don't know what do you call it IT in America? Like information technology, like computer classes, like programming and stuff like that.
Yes. Well, we didn't
Yeah.
have. I mean, there wasn't a programming class when I was in school.
Oh, right, okay.
But yeah, yeah. It depends on what they're focusing on, I suppose.
Yeah, and this kid who sat next to me, I remember he designed a Doom screen, and it didn't do anything. It just looked like Doom. And then he would use, I think we were using probably Pascal or Java or something. I can't remember now. And he would make it so you could see like someone walking down the hall in a Doom-esque environment, and that was it. And he spent hours just making it do that, just just a Doom look, and then going forward through a Doom-based hallway. And so that's my thought. I'm just like, I could spend hours and I'd probably come up with like the start of a level, especially when it comes to RPG. With Mario, I can make a level, I can put enemies in, I can do whatever, it's fine. But if you want to do it well, I think you need to spend a lot of time on it. And RPG Maker to me, I think needs to be done well, right? Like RPGs are not just platforming levels a la Mario. Their whole worlds and their whole,
Yeah.
like you said, there's writing that goes with it. How does that fit into this? Do you just type? Can you type in the words? Like, is there a story behind RPG Maker that you can put in?
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think that's the thing that fascinates me the most, because more than anything else, that's the one thing I would be able to do on something like this is write to
Mm.
create a story. But yeah, being able to write because you'd have to have the whole thing planned out and the different
Mm.
scenarios, and then I guess build the world around the writing you've already created.
Mhm.
And that's like if you write a story and then you have to build the whole thing around it, suddenly your story is taking an awful lot longer to get out there to people to share,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you would almost have to work hand in hand. I can't imagine I would be able to do this without having a team of
Mm.
other
Mhm.
people to keep pushing me and for me to push, so that
Mhm.
we're staying on top of it and actually getting work done, but also so that the task isn't so daunting.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's the benefit of this with version that you can work as a team.
Yeah,
And don't get me wrong, I love that these exist and I love that people do spend time putting these together for players like me to enjoy. I think it's great and yeah, there's some really talented people and I guess it's even similar to all the great indie devs we see and the time they must put in to their projects. Even this Lloyd Empty with his Legend of Zelda fan remake. He's not even writing the story really; it's already written for him. He's probably changed it a little bit, but still to implement it, and that's a remake. It's already an existing game, but you can just imagine how much time that would take. That seems daunting to me as well. But to have a completely original story and then build that world around it, um, yeah, and then you got to test it and probably change it along the way, a bit like
yeah.
drafting. It's a drafting process, I suppose. So it's very interesting, and to give people these options and give them access to something like this is fantastic. It's a bit like the game I was thinking of before the show. Sorry, that I was referring to when we chatted was Super Dungeon Maker, which is another kind of builder. Well, an RPG kind of world builder. So there's other kind of games like that around as well. And
No, sorry, I
yeah,
thought you were
no,
done. Go
you go.
ahead.
Yeah, I am done. I
Well,
think.
I also wonder if the Switch is the place you want to build an RPG. I mean, I want
Mhm.
to play it on the Switch, but you're still working with Switch controls, right? Unless are you able to
Mm.
plug a keyboard in and a mouse or something? I think I'd want to build this on my Mac and
Mm.
then
Mhm.
make it available on Switch. And this is also coming out in 2025 for PS4 and PS5, but I don't see anything
Mhm.
on here about it being available on a PC or Mac.
Right, interesting. You can use peripherals like keyboards, I believe, on the Switch. I don't know how. I think it's just through the USB kind of
Yeah.
port. I've not ever tried it, but and I don't know. Obviously, most games wouldn't even allow that input because they just don't need it. Whether this one does or not, that's a good question. It would make things a lot easier if you're typing a story, though. Um,
Yeah.
in the trailer, it sort of says easy to use functionality, and I think it's like you can just point and maybe drag stuff in that you want, like all the random couches that we see in the trailer. There's a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
couches.
Whoever was working on the trailer, they need to. I can help them out. I feel like I can offer to any game developer that it's not a good idea to put 10 couches in one building
Yeah,
stacked
yeah,
right in front of each other. That's my level of expertise
yes,
in video game development.
yeah. But
Limit
there's
the
a lot.
couches.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But there are a lot of options, and it says user friendly. I guess this is a trailer, of course. They do think it's user friendly. Whether it is or not, we don't know because we haven't played it. But I assume it's got to be half decent. Otherwise, it wouldn't have got through testing. But yeah, hopefully we can get our hands on it when it comes out. So is this so NIS America? Did they make this game? This RPG Maker
I
with?
don't believe so. I
No.
believe
Okay.
it is who's the developer? The developer is Gotcha Gotcha Games.
Okay. Sounds familiar. I feel like I've heard of them before. Somewhere along the way?
The they're also known. Well, they made the original RPG Maker
Oh,
and
okay.
Pixel Game Maker. I don't
Oh, okay.
see anything else listed.
Fair enough. Yeah. But NIS, it's on their YouTube channel, so obviously they think it's cool. So
Yeah,
yeah, which is good. Yeah. Well, that'll be very interesting. And sorry, the release date. Oh, that was October the 11th for the
yeah,
Switch.
October
Hmm.
11th. Yeah,
Okay.
and I imagine if you have used and do use RPG Maker, then the ability to share assets and even game levels online is huge
Hmm.
because you can get a lot of great feedback. You can get people sharing assets. It's going to create a community. Like I said, I would need a whole team to push me. Now you've got a community of people who could give feedback and say, this game looks great, but you might want to try this. So, um, yeah, I'm looking forward to two things. I want to see it in like use more, like
Hmm.
maybe a sort of like in-depth tutorial about how it's used that we could take a look at, and I want
Hmm.
to see some games that are coming out from it too, because
Yeah.
I do love playing this kind of game.
Yeah. And it does look like the style is very cool. That top down kind of, is it retro? That 16-bit kind of look to it. It looks really neat. And
Yeah.
if you can create something playable in that using those tools, then wow, yeah. I mean, it's almost limitless, really. If you've got hundreds, thousands, probably even tens of thousands of people playing this game and working together. Not the tens of thousands of people working all on one game, but you've got that many people working on it on individual games or with teams of their own or whatever, or giving feedback. I mean, that's kind of one of the benefits um, of being online and having that community kind of aspect. Yeah, that's cool. Love it. Thank you.
Hmm?
Let's move on to the games that we're playing this week. So I will start first, and I probably need to say start first. I will start because first is implied. Anyway, I digress. I haven't played much this week, but I did want to talk about Star Wars Hunters, which actually came out last week, and we didn't get a chance to talk about it last week. And it's a free game on the Switch. And it's what do you call it? An arena brawler, I think would be its genre, if
Okay.
that's a genre. Is that a
I think
genre?
so.
Yeah.
When you say it, I know what you mean. So yeah, let's go with it.
Okay. Cool. Now, it's not my typical genre of choice, but I do like Star Wars and I like free games. So I obviously downloaded it. Now, this was available for pre-download and it came out, I think, on. Actually, no, it wasn't out last week for the show. Sorry. It only came out during the week. It was the 4th, I think, which I wondered if that aligned with the new Acolyte show. Not that I've seen any references in this game at all so far, but that the new Acolyte show debuted on the 4th of June. So don't know if they just wanted to release everything at once, or at least these two things. Anyway, it's out now, so you can download it. As I said, it is free. The concept is you choose one of several characters, and you are thrust into an arena-style battle royale. There are four. It's 4 on 4, so you're joining people online. It's not local multiplayer, as far as I can tell. I didn't see any options for a second player to join me. So it's all just you're playing with people, you know, connecting with them online. It's pretty fun, and the graphics are really nice, and I have had no lag or other such issues with my battles, which I was pleasantly surprised because I think we've had that experience before from Star Wars related titles that have lagged quite bad, and Switch in general has, in some cases, has suffered from connectivity issues. This one I haven't had such an issue, and I've probably played only a handful of games, but my kids have continued and played more than that. So we've probably played about 20 odd games altogether between us. So you start off with a bounty hunter, and it's not like Boba Fett or the Mandalorian. It's kind of a new bounty hunter, and you train with this person. Then you unlock a new character called a Sentinel, which is actually a stormtrooper, but he's, I don't know, a Sentinel class stormtrooper or something. He looks like a stormtrooper. He looks pretty cool actually. He's got this like cracked helmet, like he's seen some battles, and he's
They can't get him a new helmet.
yeah,
The
no.
Empire is so cheap.
Yeah. Well, the Death Star doesn't by itself, right? It doesn't
Yeah,
build itself. So,
that's a
so
good point. That and they got to keep rebuilding it.
yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, they should have gone for a third one. Maybe the third time would have been the charm. But well, yeah, anyway. So this Sentinel, he's pretty cool, and my kids love him the best because they tend to like stormtroopers anyway for some reason, even though they're pretty.
no, they were always very cool looking.
Yes, they do look very cool. This guy, he's a soldier. He's got this huge gun, and I don't know about guns. I don't know what it's called. It looks like a grapple. I don't even know. It's huge. It's got big rounds that come out very fast, and you have a shield as well. So he's pretty cool because he can generate a shield in front of him, and that makes you walk a little bit slower, but it gives you more health. And then he can just blast people from afar. So I prefer, I suppose, the long range attacks. There are other characters such as a Jedi and a Sith warrior who obviously are more about melee attacks with their swords. There's also a Wookiee, a giant Wookiee. I can't remember his name. He's got some cool name. He's very big. It's not Chewbacca. It's just another Wookiee, but he's more about melee as well. He's very powerful and strong and can hit people with his weapon. I think he's got 2 hammers that he can go to town with. So we've unlocked him as well. So I think we've unlocked about 4 so far. And the rounds are very short and sweet. They're over pretty quickly. Generally, you have to kill, kind of using inverted commas. You do kill each other, but obviously you can respawn. So you have to take out a certain number of people in your team of 4. And it starts off, I think you have to do 5. And then as you progress, you kind of level up. You have to take out 10 to win, and then 20, or 15, then 20. So currently we're at that stage where we have to take out 20 people to win before the other team takes out 20 of our people. And it's fun. You can work together. You can get assists. So the stats at the end show you how many kills you've had, how many assists you've had, and something else I can't remember. But yeah, it's quite fun. It's quite fast paced. I believe you can purchase. I did see, so it's free, as I said, but that you can obviously make little micro transactions within if you wanted to. I don't know if that translates to characters exactly. I haven't looked into that, but you can purchase uh, weapons and skins, I think, for your existing characters. So, it's kind of like Pokemon Unite in that sense, I guess. You can play for free completely, but you can purchase extras if you want to spend the money. So I like that kind of model because you don't need to pay. Like it's not like it's time limited or um, there are plenty of characters available, but there's more you can do if you want to. So I think that's a nice model. It's not like it's not holding you back in any kind of way. Yeah. What else can I say about it? It's fun. Like I said, it's not my genre of choice, but I've enjoyed playing it, and I'm gonna keep playing it a little bit, I think, for a little bit. I'll just jump in, kinda like when I discovered Pokemon Unite. I played that a lot for a little while. It's just fun to just jump online and play a few rounds with people, and that's not about killing people, that's about scoring points, like a bit like a basketball type of situation, but this one, like I said, I am a Star Wars fan. I think if you're a Star Wars fan, and particularly if you're a shooter fan, it's kind of in third person aspect. Like you're behind the stormtrooper, for example, and you can see yourself running around. It's not first person; it's third person. But yeah, it's smooth. The levels vary quite well. There's one where you're on, is it Endor, the Ewok kind of home land? There's one where you're kind of on an Imperial ship, which really suits if you're the stormtrooper. My son said, "Oh, this is perfect for me because I'm a stormtrooper, and now I'm in like an Imperial ship of some sort." He loved that. The attention to detail is quite good. There's other characters as well. There's a Jawa that you could be, which I think is hilarious. And it's kind of like two Jawas. They're standing on top of each other to make themselves as tall as, the stormtroopers or the Wookiees.
Well, that's not fair. It should just be one, so he's harder to hit. They stacked
True.
him so that
Yeah, true.
he's easier for people to kill. Split up,
That's a good
guys.
point.
You're
Yeah,
doing this wrong. Split up.
that's a good point. That's a good point. So, and you have a special attack with the stormtrooper. His special attack is pretty cool. So you press the X button. I think it must take some time to load or whatever. But once you've got your special attack ready, you press X. And what the stormtrooper does is he calls in for reinforcements, and three or four other stormtroopers appear and start shooting around you. So you've got this backup. So he seems pretty powerful to me. I haven't played that many. Like I said, I've played a handful, but I haven't lost a battle yet, and I'm not really that good at these types of games, i.e., shooters. So, if I can win, I suppose it's not hard. Yeah, but I guess it gets harder. Like I said, the battles expand a little bit; they get longer, and there are other battles as well. It's not just about killing. I think there was one where you have to collect a certain number of points before the other team. So there's a few different. There's a little bit of variety there as well. So, yeah, is that something you are interested in? Dare I ask?
Well, let's see. I don't really like player versus player games. I don't
Mhm.
really like brawlers.
Yeah.
Brawlers. See, now I was able to get out. What now? I can't replay Lee, but I
Yeah.
couldn't say brawlers.
Yeah.
And I really don't have a whole lot of interest in Star Wars. So
Mhm.
now,
So no,
if
we'll say
any,
no.
yeah, if they did this with Flash Gordon characters, going back to my previous reference, yeah,
Mhm.
I'd probably give that a shot then. But
Yeah, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
just not my style game, like you said. So the fact that I'm not into the theme,
That makes it, yeah, it does make it hard to get into. And I would say, yeah, so if you're a Star Wars fan who has, like, I'm not into shooters, so and I enjoyed it, so probably Star Wars fans, generally, if you're a gamer, would get some enjoyment out of it. And I think I'm in the minority when I say I'm not super into shooters anyway, because that's what everyone kinda loves. So maybe it's just you and me against the world, Kirk. But,
yeah, that could be.
it's just I've just never really, like, I was talking about Doom before. I just never really got it. That was a first person shooter. It's not my jam. It's not for me, but that's okay. It's for other people, and I get that. I'm just
Yeah,
I'm pretty bad at them usually, so it's not
yeah,
something that I.
and I'm not knocking the genre. Yeah, I can understand why
Mhm.
it's a lot. In fact, what I think I would like more with this is if I was interested in it, I would rather watch people who are good at it play it than do it myself because I would just get my butt kicked and I wouldn't have much fun. But I could let my kids play it and watch and have a good old time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, maybe your kids can play this one if they're into Star Wars, or have you trained them in that art as well to not be into Star Wars? You pass that on?
Um, I haven't exposed them as highly to Star Wars, as heavily to Star Wars as a lot of parents probably have. So the fact that
Mhm.
I don't even know what movies they've seen because I've never sat down to watch any of them with it. So maybe
Right.
they've seen it, maybe they haven't. I don't know.
Wow, interesting. Wow,
Yeah,
okay. Well, you should find that out. That's your homework for the week.
they've seen Flash Gordon
It's cool.
multiple times.
I haven't. I should watch that. I don't even know
Oh
how.
yeah,
Is that on Netflix or something?
boy, I have no idea. I've got it on DVD and VHS and Blu-ray and 4K, and so I'm covered that
Oh,
way.
cool.
I don't need to stream it.
Yeah, I'll look into that then. So,
All right.
but let's move on to what you're playing this week. What's your game of choice at the moment?
Well, it is the demo which was just released for The Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak.
Cool.
This is a new. It's starting a new chapter in the Legend of Heroes stories. I don't know if you have a whole lot of exposure to these games.
Hey.
They're Falcom Games. What's the company? It's Falcom, something Falcom. And now I feel bad that I've forgotten that because it's certainly something I should have had on the tip of my tongue and ready to go. Nihon
Neon?
Falcom?
Yeah, yeah.
Neon. Okay. Um, JRPGs in the grandest sense, they're anime inspired. They feature really young, attractive protagonists and antagonists. And of all the um, JRPGs I've played, this by far has the deepest and most complicated story to follow. And that may be because when they first started releasing them for the Switch, they skipped. It was they were doing Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel. They never released 1 and 2 for the Switch. So the first game I ever played in this series was 3.
Mm,
So I
mhm.
didn't know anybody, and I should have, and I didn't know what was going on, and I should. They gave you like a whole video you could watch that would kind of summarize things, but so
Right.
many names and places, and it's a big name thing on politics and betrayal, and it's a really grand epic story that I was able to have a lot of fun with anyway.
Mhm.
But push all that aside because this one starts a brand new story that takes place after the last one with new characters in a new location. So even though it's within that universe, it's you don't need to have played any of the other games in this particular story arc to know what's going on.
Cool. That's a pretty good how far through the demo have you gone? Like, is it a big demo?
Well, I'm glad you asked because it is not a big demo.
Okay.
It's the prologue. And
Ah,
I mentioned in the article that I wrote about this when I got the press release that this is the perfect game to have a demo because in the other games that I played, they usually start you in the middle of a big battle. Like the first time you play, you're just thrust into
mm,
all kinds of chaos and you've got characters running around and sometimes different teams coming from different angles you got to control and fight and they make the battles easy obviously because you're at the beginning of it but they don't do a whole lot to explain the system. You're just kind of like doing basic attacks and getting away with it, and then after that's done then we go back to a calmer time and we meet the characters and things that we start to build up to that. So it's a cool way to do that, and I thought that's what they were going to do here, but they did not. I guess because it's a new story arc, they just start off with the two main characters, a fellow named Van Arkride and Agnes. I can't remember Agnes's last name right now. Agnes.
it's not in the
But
description, I can't see it.
yeah, she uh Van kind of like is a if you don't want to go to the police to solve your problem, but you don't want things to be illegal, come to me because I'm able to like skirt between the two somehow. That's
Okay.
his whole
Mhm.
business model. So
Yeah.
this girl comes to him with this mission that she has. They go on it. She's seeking a particular object that was stolen. Um, and it's basically just them going to get that, and all it does is it introduces them and we meet a few more characters and we learn the battle system, and that's important too because the battle system is heavily changed from
Right.
the previous games. So it kind of introduces all that, and just when they start to set up the mystery and we're learning there's a bit more to these characters than it may seem, which of course there's got to be,
Yeah.
then the demo ends and you can complete it in one sitting. So
Right. Okay.
it's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, that's not quite enough. I'm glad I got it out of the way,
Yeah.
for when the game releases. But as I said,
Mm,
I wrote up a bullet point impressions on it. And the last thing I said was, if you are going to play the demo, I would wait until closer to the end of the month. The full game releases on July 5th,
mhm,
and they throw a lot at you with this new battle system. You're going to forget it all if you're like
mm,
me. So
yep.
wait until the end of the month. That way, when you do get the game in and start, it's all fresh. But for the short period that one other thing that's weird, the Switch demo is prologue only, but I've read that for PlayStation and I think it's coming out for Xbox too. They also get the first chapter.
Oh,
So I
that's
don't know
interesting.
why the Switch got short shafted here,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
either I mean
Yeah.
you get the game and you're going to get to play the whole thing. So
Yeah. Yeah. And in some ways, it sounds like a good demo because it's neat and tidy, but, um and the battle system, I guess I wanted to ask about that because you said it changed significantly, and I know you've only had a taste of it, but I is it better? or you're not sure yet?
There are some things I like more and some that I like less.
Mhm,
The
mhm.
things I like less, maybe because I'm just not used to it yet.
Mm,
Um, so I won't go into too much detail because having only played through the prologue, I know I haven't gotten to a point where I need the battle system so much that it's fun. Like I haven't faced a really big boss yet, and that's where all the different power ups and customizations you can make really come into play.
yeah.
Um, so I'll withhold judgment on that. But one thing I really like is before it was all turn based. Every battle you're running around, you can see the enemies on the map. Actually, you're not like looking down on a map. It's all third person and you're following
Mhm.
along. But you can see the enemies inside if you want to fight them. You need to because you have to level up, but you can skip the ones you don't want. And you
Yeah.
can even see what the enemies are, so you know what you're fighting. Although they'll show you like one monster, and when you attack there may be three, and they won't all be the same thing. But now there's a real-time component to it. So as
Right.
you're running around, you will first start attacking them. In the past you could like try to sneak up and hit them from behind, and that gave you an advantage when you went in. But now
Mhm,
you can do the whole fight in real time if you want to. It's very basic, at least so far, because you only get your A button to attack. So if you're against a lesser animal, you can attack it and beat it in a matter of seconds and then just keep right on going, and it doesn't slow anything down and it doesn't break up your exploration. It
mhm,
really feels like it's part of it. If you're having trouble beating those monsters, then there comes a point where you charge up, I don't know what the gauge is called, but you charge that up, and when it's full you hit ZR. That will take you into the turn-based mode, and you can also hit your Y button if you time it right, and it's pretty easy to time, and that then stuns the opponent, so you can get an advantage that way. And then you execute it turn based, and then go back. So it's a really cool system that allows you to move forward quickly when you're facing enemies that are easy to kill. But you also still get the full strategies of the turn based system that I like so much. So I really like that combo, and I really like the way it plays. And I can't think of any other game I played that so effectively combined real time combat and turn based combat seamlessly.
yeah, me neither. I like that too. That sounds very interesting. Yeah. I mean, and it kinda caters to people. Would you say most people prefer one or the other? Like, would you say you're more of a turn-based
I think it
style?
depends. I think it depends on what type of RPG you like. And we've talked before
Mm,
about JRPGs. JRPGs traditionally are going to have turn based battles.
mhm,
Western RPGs generally are more action oriented.
mhm,
So I think this is a way to appeal to both. If you've ever looked at this and thought, yeah, I don't like the anime inspiration. I don't like combat to just be in steps as opposed to hacking and slashing and blocking and dodging.
mhm, mm.
Now you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Except though the boss battles, all boss battles apparently will be entirely turn based. You cannot have the action component against them.
Oh, that makes sense. I think that's fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they can be pretty complex. There are a lot of difficulty levels you could set it at. I think there are five. Oh, and that's one other interesting thing. Man,
Yeah?
I think there are five difficulty levels, but you can get a separate difficulty level for the action battles and the turn base. So if you're good at one and bad at the other, you can control them individually and still make
Right.
it challenging, but not so completely overwhelming that you hate one side or the other. Very well done.
Yeah, that's cool. And so in the demo, which is the prologue, you get to try both of these methods.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Wow,
Yep. They give
that's
you, I mean,
yeah.
although it's short, they do give you a lot of enemies to fight.
Right, yeah. That is interesting. I like that. And you mentioned before that the 3rd game was the first one that you played on the Switch. And what I mean, I know this is kind of, new characters, et cetera, and it doesn't have a number tied to its title, but what number would it be in the series if it was like, is it the 5th, 6th sort of
If we're,
iteration?
well, it's hard. I don't even know if I could say, because there were four Cold Steel games, and then there
Mhm.
was a fifth. Like, then there was one to kind of tie the whole thing together.
Right.
So 3, 4, and the last one that wasn't numbered were all Trails of Cold Steel. But then there
Mhm.
were also games that were released for the PSP, and they released those came out before the Trails of Cold Steel games, but they tie into this too. And I think there were two of those, and those are available for the Switch also. So there are
Okay.
currently, I think, 5 games available for the Switch. Two in the series are not. So I guess this would be eight.
Right. Okay. Wow. Very cool. So I guess you're looking forward to the full version when it comes out in July.
Yes.
Yeah, only about a month away, but that's a long time. In terms of what you said about the demo, um, yeah, if you're listening and you're interested and you haven't tried the demo, maybe download it and then play it in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and especially if you're a fan of the series, and you don't want to start a new story because you don't, you're used to those characters and you like those characters. I can say that everybody I've met so far really fits in and is really cool. And there's one moment in the demo, like one of the last things that happens with Van, the main guy, who just makes him awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't worry about starting over with new characters. They make some references to older characters too. There are a couple people that they mentioned
Mhm.
because I think chronologically it takes place only a year after the last one,
Oh, okay.
but it's in a
Mhm.
completely different location.
Yeah, okay. Awesome. Well, I look forward to hearing more about that when the full game is released, in about a month's time or so. Somehow we've used up our whole hour. I can't believe it. That went really fast,
Yeah,
as it tends to
see,
do with us. Yeah.
and we could use a couple more probably if we needed to, but then I'd end up on more rants about why I don't like Star Wars, and we'd turn off all of our fans. So probably best we don't.
Well, there's it's I think the fans are divided right now, honestly. There's fans and then there's fans. But you are unique among fans because you don't even like the original trilogy, so
Well, the first two,
the
but
best
yeah,
2.
I like most of the people who don't like the new Star Wars are because they've got a set view of what it's supposed to be, right? And
Yeah.
I'm not gatekeeping. I'm just not interested.
Yeah, fair enough. That's okay. That's fine. You are entitled to your opinion.
All right, thanks. I
Yes.
appreciate that.
Did you wanna quickly touch on anything else before we sign off?
Oh no, I think we've discussed enough.
Okay. Well, thank
But
you.
I do look forward to talking more about Trails Through Daybreak.
Yeah.
And well, I've mentioned before that we're very close to the release of the other JRPG I was looking forward to. The Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance is coming
Mhm.
out, I think, in just a week now. So
I saw some sort of trailer for that during the week, actually. Was there something that dropped? Some sort of I can't remember what it was now. It was like a series of trailers, I thought, maybe, introducing something. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
yeah, some of the new components, but yeah, there was one, and you're right. I can't remember what it is. I should have written it up, and
That's
didn't.
okay.
I,
Yeah.
I wish that game had a demo.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm surprised it doesn't actually. But anyway, maybe it doesn't need it because it's too people like it or I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that most of us have already demoed. Well, most of us who were interested in it have already played the original version when it was released for the Switch in 2021. So
Mm.
my
Yep.
demo of it was about 60, 70 hours.
Right. Yes. And so you'll play that'll give you 3 weeks or so then to play that before Legend of Heroes comes out?
Yeah, boy, I'm gonna have to. Well, the good thing about Shin Megami Tensei 5 is that battle system is very easy to use. It's
Mhm.
all strategy and with the demons you're collecting and stuff, and who you're going to put in your party. So it's
Yeah.
it's not as intricate with the controller as Trails Through Daybreak will be.
Mhm. Yeah. And does that one start off in battle as well? You know how you said some games tend to start in the middle of an epic battle?
Oh,
Bef
it doesn't, but things go south very, very quickly.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, thank you. And listeners, if you're a fan of anything that we've mentioned today, let us know. We'd love to know your opinion and your thoughts on any of these games and whether you're excited for things like The Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak and whether you've played the demo. I'm going to download it just so I can experience it, Kirk, so I can, you know, emulate your feelings, I suppose, to an extent.
Right?
So I'll do that. I'll
Well,
commit to that.
you know what? I just got a what's this breaking news?
Oh, yeah. Breaking news. Yeah.
1 minute ago, an email came through.
Yeah.
Let's see, is there an embargo on this? I don't think I see an embargo on this information. No. Great. Get ready, Sonic fan. Today during Summer Game Fest Live 2024, Sega announced Sega X Shadow Generations will release digitally and physically on October 25th.
Oh, there we go. We have a release date.
Yep,
Okay.
and it's
Yeah.
now available for pre-order. Um,
Cool.
wait, no, wait. PC starting. Oh, is it the price? Okay, I didn't see Nintendo Switch like they were the pre-orders. Sometimes
Ah,
don't open on the Switch as early as anyone else, but I found it. Yep,
yeah. Okay.
Nintendo
Cool.
Switch, $50, October 25th. Pre-orders open now.
There you go. Well, you heard it here first. Hopefully. I mean, probably not, but that's okay.
Yeah,
Only because it's breaking news for us right now, but
yeah,
this
it
won't
is
post
for
for
us.
two
Yeah, we're
days.
excited.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Kurt. No, that is excited, and I'm glad we worked out how to say it. Sonic X Shadow, right? Because I
Yep.
didn't know how to say it. That was always
Well,
funny.
that's yeah. I'm going to read it that way until I'm told otherwise, and then I'll forget and read it that way again.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Well, thank you again for joining me this week and talking about all things Nintendo with me. Thank you, listeners, for joining us as always. We certainly love what we do. We hope you enjoy it and get something out of it. Let us know your thoughts. We'd love if you could leave us a review on one of the podcasting channels if you're listening on Spotify or Apple or Amazon or on YouTube. Just hit that like and subscribe because it really helps support us. And you can also follow us. We're on Twitter/X and Mastodon and Blue Sky. We are also working hard on our next edition of the Pure Nintendo magazine. If you would like a physical magazine to hold in your hands and read and love forever, you could support us and get yourself a copy over at patreon.com/Pure Nintendo. We'd love your support and we'd love to get one of our next issues into your hands. So, again, thank you. And until next week, game on, everybody. Bye.